Welcome back to another episode of the Who You Know Show podcast, where what you know is important, but who you know can make all the difference in your business, career, relationships, and life. My name is Trevor Houston, and on this show, you'll learn the strategy, grit, and mindset it takes to overcome obstacles so you can level up in your career, recover your cash flow, and live the life of purpose that God intended for you. Don't forget to look at the mic drop moments time-stamped in the show notes below. And if you've enjoyed today's episode, make sure to pay it forward, subscribe, and leave an honest review so we can improve. Thanks for listening. My name is Trevor Houston, and please enjoy this episode of the Who You Know Show.
I was born during the Vietnam era in the Republic of the Philippines. And at that time, mixed breeds, my father was an American GI. My mom was Filipino, and my dad got her pregnant. He got killed in Nam. And at that time, they were taking bastard males away from their mothers. And so it's shipping them to Spain because it's a Spaniard-owned country. So from there, like an Air Force couple kind of adopted me, brought me back to the States, but they couldn't raise me. So they dropped me off in an orphanage. So I was at an orphanage for the young years of my life, and then eventually got adopted by a family in Detroit, Michigan, where I grew up. And they were fantastic for me. We all have our family issues and stuff, but they divorced like literally 5 months after I was adopted. So I kind of went from house to house, and I dealt with all this abandonment issues, blah, 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 and ended up going into the service right out of high school. I mean, I was recruited by different colleges for different sports, but I ended up going to the service because they didn't really want to let me in with a 1.4 grade point average because I wasn't all that scholarly. I was in the Navy, 1990, 1997, did 6 deployments over to Iraq, Ramadi, Afghanistan, Somalia. From there, I just my story was kind of sought after by a couple different TV networks like Jenny Jones, Montel Williams, stuff like that, because there's more to it that I haven't really shared, but I've dealt with a lot of abandonment issues. So 10 years ago, I started Time to Shine Today is our motto, our credo, our mission statement is we don't want anyone to feel like they have no one. So we're a conduit for people to come to, like a carousel connection, if you will, for people like send to you guys that are looking to level up their job search. Or I've had people come to me with suicide issues, PTSD. So I have people to put them on with, coaches really to level up. I have about 55,000 subscribers to Time to Shine Today. And basically I can put them with the right coach to help them level up. I'm a real estate agent by my day job for 22 years. So I coach real estate agents across the United States. But, that's my niche. That's where I stay. I don't try to coach people on mindset for different backgrounds. So I have coaches to bring them to. So that's where my kind of background and basically I was blogging a lot and sending stuff out to my list. But then they're like, when did you start a podcast? So December 19th of last year, started Time to Shine Today. I dropped episode 103 this evening, and we just went over 315,000 downloads. So we got it going on in about 6 months. I'm getting a lot of awesome listeners. I had the pleasure of bringing Trevor on today, who really, brought the heat about, providing more value in different areas, not just what you're specializing in. So I really appreciated Trevor's time today.
Yeah, you've got a great story, Scott. I mean, obviously, people that come through great adversity, right? Trial and adversity have so much to offer because they have those experiences that they've grown from. And obviously, you've taken that to the next level and just achieved this success. So that's awesome.
Everybody doesn't share. So, you care enough to share, and we appreciate that, man.
No, I appreciate you say I had the story, and people were coming after in 1995, 96, 97, and I just wasn't really ready to share it then. I'm coming up on 50 years old, so I'm ready to kind of share it a little.
Those stories and how we've overcome adversity and how we've overcome those challenges, like those are what help us to help other people. Because it's funny when you're having a conversation with somebody who has gone through it or is going through it, it's like a weight off of them. They're like, oh man, I'm not alone. The enemy wants to make you feel like you're alone, and you're the only one going through anything. We're all going through something. So Scott, you've been doing the podcast. It's obviously successful. It's taken off. What have been some of the biggest challenges as you were creating that?
It was always a paralysis analysis. I thought, about podcasting 2 years ago. I have a radio show here in South Florida called South Florida Real Estate Business and Lifestyle, where I interview movers and shakers here in Palm Beach. And I never wanted to do a podcast yet. So there was like a fear of getting out there, rolling it out there, getting in front of people. And I have no problem interviewing people, guys, but it was just a little bit different in a more neutral setting. It's kind of intimate when it's just kind of a screen in front of you, in the sense of you don't want to mess it up, because I want to make everybody look like the best version of themselves. Where if you're in studio, I can kind of banter and go back and forth. But Trevor and I had 30 minutes today, and I wanted to make sure Trevor looked phenomenal. So there was fear, Trevor, within that, of really leveling up and making sure that I could make my guests look the best they can.
I do have to say I was extremely impressed of just how you formulated the interview and the questions that you asked me. And it was like rapid fire, but it was also well thought out.
Appreciate
you
it.
did extremely well. And then he summed it all up at the end. So it's not like he had a time to like think about that or prepare. He summed it all up and did make me look like $1 million at the end. I was like, dang. And it's not like he was taking notes.
Well, actually, you know what? Hold on a second, man. I'm just sneaky about it. And I always stand up when I'm doing my interviews, when I'm interviewing people, so I can be like way down there, like scribbling on papers. I love your guys' concept, because now I have a strategic alliance to be able to send people to that are trying to level up their job search or trying to level up within their company. So yeah, there's certain mindsets, mind hacks, if you will, that I really like believe in. And I teach and coach to my one-on-one clients with real estate agents. But having the platform that I have, guys, it's phenomenal to be able to get the word out to not only my squad of listeners, but the other people out there that I'm blessed that are actually listening in. With being military, I'm crazy overly prepared. So I sent Trevor out a list of questions that kind of wet his whistle, for lack of a better term. But then if you look at our questionnaire, I got about 40 different questions that I have to go off of to wherever conversation goes, I can pull up, because Trevor was all about service first. So I wanted to know, how we wanted his dash. Remember that, Trevor? The dash, that little line in between his life date and his expiration. I wanted to know how he wanted that. And he answered it with flying colors. Trevor's a living legacy.
Yeah, that was a great question. I'd never even thought about that question. Yeah, I told the 22-year-old me to think big. Yeah. Dream big, visualize. Well, that's one of the questions I have for you is, what's next for Scott Ferguson in the next 5 years?
Getting my subscriber list in the next 5 years to 500,000 subscribers. I don't sell them anything directly, anything that I don't try myself. So I do a lot of product reviews on items, products that people will send me. I do a review and I send it out to my list. If they buy it, I get paid a little bit. But I want to be an affiliate for the top-notch companies, and I will be an affiliate for the top-notch companies across the board, including, your job networking show. I want to be one of the top recruiters for people that are looking to level up their life, and through good resumes, through job interviewing skills, and send them to you guys so they can level up.
Thanks for listening to the Who You Know Show podcast. My name is Trevor Houston, and if you've enjoyed this episode, consider subscribing wherever you listen and leave us a positive review to help us keep the mics on in the studio. Until next week, that's the show. It's all about who you know.